watching Force 13's live streaming service. Hello and welcome to Force 13's live hangouts. As you can see, my name's Nathan Foy, and today, at least for the first minute, I'm upside down. I'm joined by my fellow upside down friends. Craig, hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm upside down.
Fantastic. Daniel, hello.
Hello.
And the noise is coming from John.
I can't go upside down. I'm sorry. I'm trying.
If you spot a blooper on the Force 13 channel at any time this year in 2016, watching the 2015 bloopers right there, send us a message to our usual mediums and make a note of which point, at which time that you saw that blooper and which video it is if it's already one that's online, and we'll consider it for the 2016 blooper reel. Oh boy, here we go again. Hurricane Dean, Hurricane Alan, Hurricane Wilma, Hurricane Gilbert, Hurricane Emily, and many more in a documentary from Playa del Carmen, Mexico, August the 2nd to the 13th on Force 13. You're watching Force 13's Tropical Weather Bulletin with your presenter, Nathan Foy. Good evening, welcome. This is Force 13 Live. My name's Nathan Foy, and we're joined by many other people across the world on this update on Typhoon Nepartak. As you can see, we're joined by this whole array of people in our Skype chat room. David, Orlando, Devon, Jason, Cesar, and Hank, all here at the same time. Guys, hello, good evening.
Good evening, Nathan.
Good evening.
How is everyone?
Very great today. Thank you.
And what do we have here? A category 4 or 5, depending on who you ask. We think it's a category 5. Officially, it's only a category 4. We actually think it's 175 miles per hour as per the satellite intensity guidance. And I'm sure everyone will have diverging opinions on those types of things. 3 minutes past 5 as it is in China this morning. And Taiwan and the southernmost Japanese islands are currently under the most threat from the storm. Who'd like to start?
Well, I must say that Nepartak for me is a very strong Category 5 Super Typhoon. Of course, it gained a lot of strength in the last few hours, and well, it surprised me that the JTWC hasn't put Nepartak as a Category 5, but well, it's up to them to update the information of Nepartak.
The responsible party is the Japanese Meteorological Agency, which says even less, 130 miles an hour. But we are, we it's not the first storm we've ever tracked, and we've seen all sorts of things, and I certainly have the belief that it's a significant storm. It's not like me to go over the top with these things. I actually do think it's a 175 mile an hour Category 5 storm. Here's the latest forecast chart from the Force 13 website. You can access this online, force13.com /sews.html. Stands for Storm Early Warning Service. Of course, you can also visit the Force 13 tracker on the main website as well. This is what we think will happen in the next 5 days. Moving towards the northern part of Taiwan, the southernmost Japanese islands, and for a weakening trend at 48 hours and beyond. Could still be a major by the time it reaches China and then moving off towards the northeast, perhaps towards the Korean peninsula on by the weekend. But as it is right now, we think 175 miles an hour, 905 millibars, its latest position as of an hour ago, I think, or half an hour ago, 18 degrees north, a little bit more, 131.2 degrees east. Nepartak isn't the only thing going on. Of course, we will be discussing that more than anything else, but we'll also be talking about Blas, which is a major hurricane in the eastern Pacific as well, 123 miles per hour at last check. That's according to the real-time ATCF information. So we could be looking at 125 miles an hour by their next advisory. I think the National Hurricane Centre might have just done an advisory, actually. I've not been looking. But if I do find out, I'll let you know. But someone else talk for a moment.
Well, what I would like to point out is that when Fantala was around, it wasn't yet at the Cat 5 status, but afterwards we were saying already it was going to be Cat 5. It was a Cat 5, but it took a while for the agencies to catch up.
Yeah, I just want to confirm that Blas, the National Hurricane Centre, has made it 125 miles per hour and an air pressure of 954. In fact, that latest graphic at the bottom right shows 127, so it seems to be going up quite a lot. Potential for Category 4, it's only 5 mile an hour shy. Less than that, so we'll see. Of course, if you've got any comments or questions, the viewers, during this show, and if you want us to pull up any particular graphics or anything you'd like to see on here, then just let us know and we'll do our best. But yes, guys, tell us what your opinions are on the authorities not thinking this is a Category 5.
Well, I must say that they're really insane because, I mean, of course, satellite analysis, it doesn't completely credible to say how much intense is a storm, but generally storms with small I and with this kind of rate of intensification.
Yeah, I mean, when I was making that experience point earlier, you know, we've seen so many storms like this, and never have we seen a storm look so strong yet only be a Category 4, right?
Exactly. I mean, its structure is very organized and looks like it's going to shrink a little bit more before getting affected by the shear.
Yeah.
But
is Devon with us right now, by any chance? I'd like to hear his particular reasoning as well on the storm, but we'll come back to him. David, you're also joining us from Eastern Australia. What do you think waking up to this storm this morning?
Good to be here, Nathan, and over the last couple of days I've been monitoring, watching this system. It has developed very well, considering what it was, but it's another system that I'm impressed with, and it's got the eye feature. And Nathan, if it's okay, I'll bring up a screen share.
Absolutely. I encourage it. There's nothing else to show at the moment.
Right. Okay.
Though briefly, actually, I just been going through the images, and on the wind shear map right now, because someone mentioned it, the storm is sort of in a up and down part of wind shear at the moment, it would seem. It's in a decent position right now, but there is high wind shear to its north and northwest, so that could possibly interfere in the short term. One or two of the models are actually saying that the storm will have 2 Category 5 peaks, this being the first and the second one occurring not far from Taiwan. So that could be a severe threat as well. We'll go on to that later on in the show, I'm sure, but let's get on to David.
Okay, just looking at the water vapor.
Where?
What happened?
You got
Oh,
you got
here
it there now.
Yes, yes. Here we are.
So you can see the Nepartak maintaining its eye, and let's see. So, what do you think of it?
Well, of course, it's very organized, and the ice is getting even more clear by every frame.
Clearer, but don't you think it's shrinking in those last few frames? Suggesting that eye wall replacement cycle along the way.
Well, let me
Coming up.
tell you that actually, yes, it's getting a little bit being covered by the clouds there. Possible it will get an eyeball replacement cycle. Yeah, it's having a very small eye, and this kind
But
of
certainly
storm
very,
with
very clear, and the warmest point it's been so far as well. Even though the eye wall cloud tops haven't been as high as they were earlier today, the eye itself has offset that, and that's why it's intensified over the last 6 hours. But to suggest that that is merely 150 miles an hour is Codswallop, don't you think?
Well, it's possible. I mean,
You think?
I don't know, but this.
Okay, let's get one thing straight. We all agree that Joaquin was 155 miles an hour, right, last year in the Atlantic. Yep.
Yes, I'm agree with that.
Looks better than that, doesn't it?
Of course, I mean,
Of course.
it looks
Has to be a
more
5.
than. Of course, because Joaquin was was barely. I mean, it reached its peak intensity, but only few hours, and Nepartak, of course, is very organized and looks completely a Category 5 storm. I mean, it's not big. It's not a big storm, but look at it. I mean, the last frames show a very great structure of the storm, and well, it's of course it's a very important threat to Taiwan, China, and possible South Korea by the end of this week. But look at the frames. I mean, it's very organized, and I don't. I still don't believe that the official intensity is a Category 4 storm. But well, we need to accept that for those agencies. I think.
Well, how much
No.
faith do we have in them anyway? David, go ahead.
Nathan,
Wait,
has it got 2 inflow channels? I'm looking at this.
Well, its strongest point has always been to its north, much more so than its south. So I'd definitely say the northern side of the storm is definitely the strongest coming in and out there.
And when did Nepartak develop its eye? How many hours ago?
Well,
does anybody know?
The first comings of an eye have always been there for some time, at least 24 hours, I think. Back when it was 65 miles an hour, and we were all saying it should be a typhoon now. We all said that here in the chat room. It certainly looked the part for a typhoon. It took a little bit longer than expected. But yeah, the eye feature has existed for more than 24 hours.
And would I be right to say that it's possibly undertaking a eye wall replacement?
Well, I don't know.
Or about to?
Yeah, well, that is quite possible. It's about to do that. It's what we speculated just a few moments ago. people interested about what the storm might do, and a lot of people jumping the gun saying it will do such a thing, which I won't repeat. But the models don't really support that right now. The models are suggesting not much more than what we've already got. In fact, I don't think the models are suggesting anything more than what we've already got right now. The HWRF was the only model ever to predict a Category 5 storm until the last few hours, which another model has jumped on board to Category 5. About time. So it's rather remarkable that HWRF completely went to town earlier today by saying that the storm would get to 190 miles an hour and hit Taiwan with winds of 175 miles an hour. It's backed off from that a little bit and now says that it will have 2 peaks, with the second peak hitting Taiwan at the end of it with winds of 160 miles an hour. Either way, bad news for Taiwan, but
it should be said that
not likely.
That second peak with the HWRF, 898 millibars.
Really?
At least from what I saw. Yeah, I know I'm a little late to the show. I was preparing a few things so I can kind of go rapid fire off the screen share here.
Alright, well, you take the screen share when you're ready, and I'll have a look at other sites.
Oh, look who... Never mind. Okay, so we're going to start off with Typhoon Nepartak. I only did stuff for Nepartak. I haven't touched Hurricane Blas. Right now I think it's, a Category 3? And it looks like it's getting some kind of an annular structure, but Blas is absolutely no threat to land right now.
Yeah, David, whilst we're looking at this, get up the floaters for Blas, and that might be a good idea there.
I was just thinking that.
Because I'm going to be going through a bunch of floaters for Nepartak here, in which case I have to close this window. Bad presenting skills. Okay? Yes. Nepartak. So we have a very strong Super Typhoon here in the West Pacific that, 24 hours ago? Maybe borderline typhoon, we would say?
Yeah.
So this really shot up the wall very quickly overnight. I was even calling it overnight that we were going to have this monster system, and boy, it did not disappoint out of the gate.
That's what
175,905, according to mine and Nathan's analyses. Something I have to say that's currently remarkable is this storm's very rapid forward-paced west-northwest at a very remarkable 21 miles per hour.
What's more remarkable is that we actually agree on something.
Yeah. Gales, as far as the size of the system, gales, especially to the northwest of the system, extend well over 300 kilometers out. So it's a decently sized system, with the exception of the typhoon force winds. A little small, they extend about 65, 70 kilometers out from the center. If this thing's going to hit Taiwan head on, rather. This thing's going to hit Taiwan head on. JTWC says landfall's only 48 hours away. I probably agree with that. Yeah. And probably some weakening is in effect. Most storms do weaken by at least a category before making a landfall in Taiwan, most notably Dushen.
Yeah, that's just what I was going to say, but it intensified again before landfall, didn't it?
Yeah, but it still was nothing compared to what it was out at sea.
Well, but the Dushen maintained its intensity because it was annular, and
yes,
mostly annular storms maintain its intensity even when the conditions are not proper for intensificate.
Another thing that's quite remarkable about this system is the very fast, rapid forward speed here, yet still getting the second highest rating on my own cyclone scale, the cyclone destruction potential scale, which takes into effect not just wind size, but also forward speed as well, to get a better determination about how much damage it's going to cause. 9 is bad news. But we're expecting it to weaken at least 2 stages before hitting Taiwan. So that's the bottom line there for Nepartak. We'll take a look at first. We'll take a look at BD imagery, and boy, I gotta say this storm looks very impressive. The eye has looked much better in the last few images, with the exception of the very most recent one, which shows the eye degrading a bit. But otherwise, the cold medium gray cloud tops completely surround the eye in a pretty much circular fashion, showing what is a very powerful typhoon with a not very big eye, a Patricia or a Wilma type eye with this system. And again, the remarkable thing here, a very quick forward pace, 20 miles an hour on this system.
And for
Double what you would normally see in a storm.
Geographical context there, you can just about make out the northern tip of the Philippines on the far left there.
As you can see, we're going to get our first visible images soon, probably in the next hour or two. So, probably within the next hour, we'll start getting our first visible images. So stay tuned for that. Meanwhile, I've also got the shortwave imagery on it. I gotta say, the eye looks very impressive on the shortwave image here. Not sure about what you think about it, Nathan.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, no matter what angle you look at this system, you can't help but say that this is impressive.
This is the imagery.
No matter what angle you look at it from. So that's pretty much all the satellites I've got to talk about. And now I want to go to the models, which I have to say, none of the models are even close to how deep this system is right now.
And that could be an issue, couldn't it?
Probably somewhere in between 905 and 920. None of the models are beneath 980 to start out. So let's not worry about strength here, and let's just focus on where the models say the storm's going to go and the timing. Strength at landfall likely to be a Cat 4, Cat 3, something like that when it hits Taiwan.
You're saying it is a when?
If it hits Taiwan. So the GFS says that landfall is going to happen in pretty much a day and 6 hours.
So soon.
And then continue on past Taiwan and go into China. And then cross back out into whatever sea that is. And dissipate pretty much. So no effects to Korea expected by the GFS.
I believe there was one model that said it would just die over in China.
Yep, GFS is expecting it to just pretty much die over China. ECMWF, again, a day and 6 hours, probably, as it moves past Taiwan. A very big slow of pace once it crosses Taiwan, however.
Yeah, a lot of them
and
do
then
that.
Enter China and pretty much dissipate, from what I'm seeing here. No, re-entry back into the sea there, but I highly doubt that that's tropical. The CMC model, hooray for our Canadian friends to the north, as they're expecting this storm to take a very southerly track and then at the last moment hook towards the north. And taking its sweet little time to get there, too.
That's a weird one.
This one's 2.5 days away from landfall in Taiwan. This one is southern Taiwan. And then a few hours, a day later, going into China. And then shooting off to the north and east. Possibly and then going across Japan there and turning extratropical. And someone forgot to turn this to the NavGem model. That was probably me. Now, I'm expecting the NavGem to probably have the most interesting track of all of them. But the NavGem doesn't even have a landfall
Oh,
here
good.
on Taiwan,
Look at
but rather goes well to the north, passing over the minor outlying Japanese islands there in 2 days, and then grading by China in 3 days, a track that is very similar to Chanham of the previous year. So that possibility can't be ruled out.
Hmm.
And then our lovely, the favorite, and the only correct model to this storm thus far, the HWRF.
Indeed.
I can't believe
old
I'm saying that the HWRF has been right. But anyways, this model's expecting the storm to continue up to the northwest. As you can see here, becoming a Category 5, or quote-unquote becoming, and then weakening quite a bit, and then regaining strength on its way to
There's
Taiwan here. 165 miles per hour, 898 millibars, and they're up to 175. What do you think about that one, Nathan?
Crazy.
898 millibars, but that's shortly before landfall, as it really degenerates over Taiwan, as you would expect.
Yeah.
All the way down to barely a major hurricane as it passes over. And then, and it passes over. I forgot to look at the landfall time. Yep, in pretty much, yep, in a day and 3 hours. So that's the quickest of all the models. And then proceed to make landfall in China a few hours later.
A day and
And,
3 hours.
then
That's
what's the
51
future for
hours
it?
you're looking at there. That's nearly 2 days.
What?
Well, you're looking at hour number 51 from 12 Zulu
Yes.
today, which is nearly 2 days.
Yeah, 2 days, 3 hours.
Well, you've kept saying 1 day and 3 hours.
Oh, Jesus. I'm trying to say 2 days.
2 days for all of us. Indeed.
2 days, 3 hours.
Yeah.
Anyways, now I'm going to just go through phase diagrams real quick. The CMC model, this is more for intensity. You can really see the track up here in the upper left-hand corner too. Not very much into the deep warm core, so the CMC not expecting it to be a strong storm. We know that it's wrong. But the track is certainly an interesting one. The track is certainly an interesting one here. That takes it across Taiwan, China, and Japan.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Here's the
Goes to the
GFS
south.
plot, which has it a
Ooh.
very deep warm core system, meaning that it's a very strong storm. Good for the GFS. So this track's probably a little more reliable. And has it going across Taiwan, going across China, and then dissipating up there. Now, would you believe that I couldn't find the NavGem model in these phase diagrams for Typhoon Nepartak? I don't know why. But here's a good laugh. Here's the UK Met model. Even they have a run. And very much like the CMC, not expecting much. And then UK Met expecting it to go between Taiwan and the Philippines over the
They're
next 60 hours. So that would be, what, 2.5 days?
Yeah.
Possibly.
And here is, again, a more an overview of the HWRF model, and you can see it going way up, off the charts here in the
Gosh.
deep warm core. Very strong system before making landfall in Taiwan and China, and then slowly dissipating from there.
Okay. Do you think its movement will have a detrimental effect on the storm at all, or will it go in its favour?
From what I'm seeing, the storm is expected to slow down in forward movement as it approaches Taiwan, which would certainly be a bad thing. There would be more opportunity for the mountains to affect the storm's intensity. A good thing for Taiwan, but a bad thing when you're talking about Nepartak's intensity. So the slower the system goes, the weaker it will be once it approaches Taiwan.
All right. Well, we'll pick up back on that in a little while. And if you've got any questions, let us know. But David, if you've got Blas there in the Eastern Pacific, our first major hurricane anywhere, because hurricanes only exist in the east, back in the Atlantic. Let's have a look. Wind speed is around 125 miles an hour. NHC confirmed that not long ago. 954 millibars they said on their update. And I think the latest real-time ATCF says 127.
Wow, nice.
Not bad. Is this
I
David
do
we're
have to
looking
say
at?
that
or-
Blas has a really
It's
nice look to
Blas,
it.
and it looks like it's going to deepen to become what, Cat 4.
Yes.
And look at sea surface temperature.
It's got a little way to get there yet. But yeah, I can certainly see that happening. And I don't know if it's going to continue strengthening, as I'd say it's probably only got 24 to 36 hours before conditions start becoming.
Plenty enough time, as Nepartak showed.
Yep. Plenty of time, as any rapidly intensifying hurricane would go, but this storm isn't showing any kind of rapid intensification signatures.
It's because it's big, isn't it?
It's probably going to continue strengthening gradually, I'd probably say, for the next 12 to 24 hours.
Here's
5 knots here, 10
Here's
knots
what we were looking
here.
for, the floater. There it is. I guess one of those classic East Pacific early summer storms that are large and don't do anything.
Yeah. That's a pretty good description.
That's
We had like
Wait,
three.
it-
I remember 2012. We had like 3 in a row, didn't we?
That's always common in the East Pacific. All intense storms are away from land. Well, almost all.
Yeah,
I gotta say,
almost
though,
all.
that this is one big way to kick off the very nearly record inactivity that was in both basins.
Worldwide.
Yes.
Tied for
And
record
we're
inactivity.
still at
right?
record low inactivity worldwide. We'll get to that.
Tied for it. But if we don't
but
get a
yeah.
storm by, I think it was July 8th, we'll be back into record low again. Here's the infrared imagery.
And we do have another invest in the East Pacific that just
Ooh,
popped up
yes.
not too long ago.
I don't know if we could get a visual on that at all on the screen share there.
Some model says that disturbance in the east of Blas, it will turn Hurricane Celia by the next week.
96E is looking. Boy, if this was in the Atlantic, they'd probably name it and make it 50 miles an hour.
Oh, can't wait to see it then. We're just looking at more
Yeah.
Blas imagery first. Now it's been, here we are. Oh, goodness.
Yeah. Looks
Devin,
a lot
do you want
like
to bring
Tropical Storm
Yeah, we've got
Colin.
it here, David.
I don't know, I'll just quickly go through this.
What was that comment there, Devon?
I said it looks a lot like Tropical Storm Colin.
Yeah. Sort of does, doesn't it?
It's
Very
more
well
organized than
organized
Joaquin.
50 mile an hour storm, I have to say, Colin was.
Huh.
Very well organized. It's got to be the best looking storm I've ever seen. Ever.
Sarcasm
Sure it
dripping
is.
from Devon there.
Hey,
So,
Bertha was even better look. Yeah. No, Bonnie was
Bonnie.
even better looking.
Tropical cyclone formation, about 12 hours old. So, you see,
well, you can't argue with Nepartak for a good-looking storm anyway.
Oh, absolutely not.
Incidentally, we don't have any warnings in effect for any of the areas that are threatened right now, but that will probably happen pretty soon. In fact, I think I have an image from earlier as well that was on the Force 13 Sue's page, showing this. This is the chances of typhoon conditions in those locations. As you can see, pretty high in Taiwan and in the southernmost Japanese islands, and moderate to high in China. Quite probable that we'll see typhoon conditions somewhere in Taiwan. Would you agree, Devon?
Yeah, it's looking very likely. Most of the models, with the exception of the NavGem, are pretty much hinting at a hit on central Taiwan. And the southern outlying Japanese islands, they certainly cannot be ruled out of being affected by typhoon force conditions either.
Yeah. Is there any chance at all that the storm will move? Because it's looking like the model, the forecasts are going to be trending further west. Any chance it will go further east than expected?
Well, when the cone of uncertainty pretty much absorbs all of Taiwan, at least from the last time I looked at it, I should probably look at it again.
Yeah. Well, I know my cone actually takes the storm north of Taiwan still.
Yes. Yes, I do see this cone now. I know the JMA cone takes it to the south of Taiwan.
It does
so.
indeed, yes. Even the agencies can't agree with each other. JTWC, where's that? Midpoint of Taiwan or further north?
Pretty much right over Taipei, actually.
Oh, right, yes. So, JTWC going north, JMA going south.
Yeah, so you might as well say that the cone of uncertainty goes right over Taiwan. When you combine the two runs together. So as of right now, it seems like it's very uncertain what the storm's going to do. It depends on where it slows down and when it starts slowing down. From what I see here, the JTWC has it starting slowing down significantly once 24 hours hits. The JMA doesn't really slow it down until after 48 hours, which keeps it much further to the south. But yeah, how slow this system goes also determines how far to the north it goes, and also the intensity. The stronger it is, the more it curves.
Yeah.
Especially towards, let's say, Ishikajima, which right now is underneath the highest probability of typhoon conditions from this system.
Yes, indeed. Yes, if you're watching right now, if you got any questions for us, please send them in. In the meantime, I don't know if any of our other people on the chat would like to say anything, Orlando or Hank.
Oh, I'm here.
That Hank? What do you make of the storm?
Well, I'm just looking at some floaters right now, and I'm seeing that the long floater, the visible image is over the eye. And, I mean, I don't really know.
Well, the first question, how strong do you think it is? Would you agree with what we're saying, 175 miles an hour?
Cat 5.
Yeah, I'm still yet to understand what the agencies are saying with Category 4. Sometimes JTWC does come out with their reasoning. I'm going to see if they've actually provided such a reason. What are we looking at on the screen share there, or were?
Skype.
Well, we are now. There it is.
Wind shear.
Navy's model?
Wind shear.
A wind shear model, is it?
Wind shear.
Devon, your
Yes.
thoughts on this?
Well, wind shear isn't very high over the system, and I wasn't expecting it to increase, so no surprises there.
Okay, let me read out what the JTWC's reasoning says for the storm. It's located approximately 715 nautical miles southeast of Taipei. It's tracked west-northwestward at 18 knots over the past 6 hours. Animated enhanced infrared satellite imagery shows the system has become more compact, symmetrical, and has acquired annular characteristics as the eye expanded to 13 nautical miles. 13 is not that small. The initial position based on the eye feature blah blah blah, we know the position. It's in an area of low 5 to 10 knot vertical wind shear and excellent dual outflow. It's also drifting over very warm SSTs in the Philippine Sea, being steered northwestward along the periphery of a deep layered subtropical ridge. Didn't say anything about the strength. Oh wait, no. The initial intensity of 130 knots is based on concentric Dvorak fixes from PGTW, KNES, and RJTD.
Okay.
Whatever they are. Still doesn't make much sense to me. I still think it's certainly a Category 5. Because, you know, how can this be weaker than Joaquin is what I'd ask.
Yeah, Joaquin was definitely weaker than the system.
Yeah. Then they talk about the forecast. It's expected to continue tracking generally northwestward towards northern Taiwan along the periphery of that, whatever it was. The subtropical ridge.
I am currently looking for visible images of Nepartak.
Yep, steady intensification is anticipated in the near term as environmental conditions remain favourable. Would you disagree with that there, Devon? Because you were on about it weakening.
Well, the environmental conditions are going to start deteriorating a few days from now, not immediately.
So you do think there's room for become even stronger?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I might agree with that. Maybe the 180, but certainly not to 200 like some people have been saying today.
Michael.
Yeah, I don't think that
Not the only one.
the only way that storm's really going to start running into a wall is if it really slows down its pace over the next few. No visible images yet for the storm.
Yeah, that'll be a little while yet. I'm not sure how long we're going to be running on the show here, but if we do get visible before we finish up, then we'll show you. So that's Nepartak Category 5. No warnings in effect just yet, though of course it would make absolute logical sense to prepare for the storm if you were to live in Taiwan right now, or in the southernmost Japanese islands and in eastern China, especially near the coast, including Shanghai, I would say.
Yeah, Shanghai can definitely be affected by this system. Heavy rains are definitely going to be in order.
How comparable do you think this would be to Chanhom?
Well, if it does what the NavGem says it's going to do, extremely comparable. But as of right now, I would say not comparable at all. Chanhom was at least triple the size of this system. If not quadruple the size of this system. And yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say about Chanhom. It was also much further to the north at this time when it was in this position.
Mm-hmm.
And Chanhom was also moving a lot slower, I should say.
Yes.
Guys.
Oh.
Sorry, and don't you see, looks like now Nepartak is entering into naval replacement cycle.
Difficult to tell.
Well, I don't know. I see something around the eye.
That's what I should look
a little
for.
bit more darker.
Yeah, I saw it too. Let me see if the highest resolution from the JMA's IR imagery can shed any light on that. And I would say not yet.
Not yet, but it will be, and it will enter soon.
Though I'm looking at it, I think the eye has weakened slightly. since nearly 2 hours ago. So about 2 hours. It's weakened just a little bit, the eye.
Okay. Found an image from 2110.
But
Still looking.
at our latest, we think it's 175 miles an hour and a pressure of around 905 millibars. It certainly has looked more symmetrical in the last few frames. If you look at the last single frame on the floater, actually, Devon, it certainly is starting to get that annular appearance, at least in the central part.
Yes, I do agree with that.
I'll actually try and get that for the viewers in just a minute, try and show everyone here what I'm referring to on one particular image selection. That sounds like David. You want to come in there?
Yeah, I'm here.
The rapid
You want
scan
some help,
floater
do you?
is nowhere near Nepartak. Let's see if the rapid scan was in. Nope. All that I've got here is I was able to find this image of Nepartak visible.
Oh, that's now? Yeah,
A half hour ago.
not long ago. Well, that's the first visible image we've seen. And I just got that
That's
floater
all
imagery
as
up as
of,
well.
1.5
showing-
hour ago.
Yeah, showing how it's beginning to look more and more annular as time goes by. And what we talk about with annular cyclones is that they become a lot more indestructible in a way.
Yes.
And is it just me, or have we seen a remarkably high amount of annular cyclones recently? Is it a coincidence, or we put it down
Will
to
be a coincidence
we
that Blas and
have seen
Nepartak
a
will attain.
remarkably high amount of annular cyclones recently. Let's see here. No. I can't even think of any storms that have formed in the last 2 months, Nathan.
Hello, guys.
I'm talking about in the last half year to a year.
I
Oh.
still can't think of any storms that even formed in that time period.
Winston? Hello, Marcel.
Oh.
Winston. Okay. If
Okay.
you want to go Southern Hemisphere, Winston, Fantala.
The Fantala was annular. I don't remember.
Name? Yeah, sort of. Oh.
Alex, potentially.
Ooh. Yeah.
Winston.
Champy?
At Sunny was annular.
Well, that's going way back.
At Sydney was annular.
I think Chapala kind of had that appearance to it.
Yeah, that's a handful, but usually you don't really see many at
Kind
all.
of can't exclude Patricia from that list.
Yeah.
Okay. So there.
Yes, Marcel, thank you for joining us. What do you think about the storm's intensity? Who do you think is right?
Oh my goodness. I think that Force 13 is right
Oh,
because
that's good to know.
this storms look more intense than Lieutenant Cat 4. Looks more
Okay,
intense than
good.
Cat 4.
That's what
The
we thought.
JMA says 130 miles per hour. What are
Yeah.
your comments about the JMA?
Yeah, they've said that for some time. I think they'll be coming out with an update very soon, actually, so keep eyes on that.
Oh my goodness. I think that I agree with 175 miles per hour.
In fact, they've just come out with their update and it's still 138. Devon's right there. Yeah. It's still
And I
130
think-
miles an hour.
I think that we have the pinhole lie.
Yes, that is quite discernible. Well, you say pinhole, but is it that much of a pinhole if it's 13 nautical miles wide?
No, it was when it was start developing, but the eye has certainly gotten larger over the past few hours. Certainly
Marcel,
more
where
to
are you
come.
going now? We're going to some clouds there. There's not much to see in that location.
Okay,
Shame
so
we
I
don't have it
have
for the
an
Eastern Pacific, but hey.
images of Blas.
Oh yes.
Right.
Oh hey, we have a question. Martinez
Yes.
Julian says, doesn't China have an air quality problem? Would Nepartak get rid of the smog polluting some parts of the country?
No.
Well, sometimes the rain can help to push out pollution, but the levels of pollution in China are very high, so possibly it can help a little bit. But I'm in the next survey they will have high levels of.
And we've got some good news from Force
This
13
might
HQ
actually might sound weird,
Go on.
but the tropical cyclone will only actually hurt the pollution problem due to the massive likelihood of acid rain from all of the air pollution.
Well, that's right, actually. What are the good news
the
of
good
your
news
HQ?
is that the weather's actually cleared up at Force 13 HQ, which is leading us to admire the nightfall because the clouds only leave when it gets dark.
Ooh.
That's why we've never seen the sun in the UK. Wonderful.
That's very nice.
Marcel's showing us Hawaii on the Himawari 8 imagery.
I was trying to find Blas.
Yes, no,
I-
Blas is way too far east.
Okay. Tropical flight.
Alright, so, Marcel, you can almost say that this has been the storm that I've been waiting for 6 or 7 months. I've been saying for a pretty long time since we've done these season predictions whatnot that the first storm is going to be a bomb right out of the gate, Category 5, and lo and behold, Super Typhoon Nepartak forms. What are your comments on that?
Your protection was right.
Wow, nice.
Oh my.
I'd love to hear what a certain person's opinions are on that.
Well, let's talk about
I
that some other
think that
time.
in a
Okay,
frame,
none of that, Orlando. It's going to give you a halt right then and there.
I think that in one frame, Nepartak looks a bit like Hurricane Felix.
Felix.
Felix, explain, please.
Could you get a comparison picture of Felix by any chance?
Yes, I can.
Oh, someone can. So you're on the screen right now is Nepartak moving towards the northwest on that infrared imagery, the latest floater there. Whilst Devon looks for Blas. Not Blas, Felix. I was reading Blas on the screen.
That's fine. It happens.
Which, incidentally, the latest ATCF real time says 128 miles per hour for Blas right now. So I think 1 mile an hour more, and it's officially a Cat 4.
Yeah.
So it's 129 miles per hour.
I believe so. I believe that. No, seriously, I believe that's the NHC cutoff point for Cat 4. Yes.
Put it like a Cat 4, doesn't matter, it will be a Cat 4.
Well, it used to be 131, but in 2012 they put it down to 129, so they could put 130 miles an hour instead of 135. It's all very, so much of a technicality. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, very nearly a Category 4 for Blas right now.
So maybe by the next bulletin yeah,
well, considering the next bulletin's in another 5 hours, it could well be a Cat 4 at the next update.
Yeah,
okay,
possibly.
Nice.
We won't be here in 5 hours, however. This is going to be a rather short Force 13 update. We're not doing 24-hour streaming at this stage, but we may do if the storm is still strong as it nears Taiwan. However, we will be doing regular storm updates as we already have been doing, and there will be more at 3 a.m. UTC tonight on either Nepartak or Blas or both. So stay tuned for that. We'll be live, I don't know how much longer for, no more than another hour, as we approach the end of the first hour of our coverage here.
My computer is being annoyingly slow pulling up the floater imagery.
Ah.
Okay. So, this is the latest picture, Dvorak imagery that I could find on NOAA for Typhoon Nepartak.
Yep.
And this is Hurricane Felix.
Oh my.
So, certainly not a terrible comparison.
Not terrible. Well, not terrible, but
Not the best comparison.
not the best.
Not
and
the best.
And Nepartak looks more intense than this image of Felix.
I agree.
Yes.
Easily.
And that image puts Felix at 175 miles per hour.
That's just
Exactly.
ridiculous. But
I
having said that, Atlantic storms, I've noticed this when I was doing all the reanalysis stuff. Atlantic storms look worse when they're Cat 5 Atlantic storms look worse than Cat 5 Pacific storms at 160 miles an hour.
Well,
Typically,
maybe
yes.
because Atlantic storms are surrounded by a lot of land, or they don't have a lot of chance to gain structure or something like that.
I
No.
think that
Uh-oh.
Nepartak is now 180 miles per hour.
Oh my, Marcel going out with
Jesus.
the 7.5.
I doubt.
I think that's a bit aggressive.
Yeah, me too.
Well, but I must say that the only good-looking Atlantic hurricane so far was Igor in 2010. But I don't know, it's up to you guys.
I think Alex has been the most impressive Atlantic hurricane since 2000.
Alex of 2010 of 2016 or 2004.
He wouldn't say the one of 2010, would he? For our earlier conversation.
I think
Well, then
that
again,
David is
Alex
trying
of
to annoy you,
2004
Cesar.
is almost equally as impressive.
Hmm. What did Marcel
Well,
say
then,
just then?
I think that the only thing that there's Devin is to annoy Cesar. That
Of course not. But returning to that Alex conversation, don't you think that Alex of 2004 was looking awesome too at 40 degrees north as a Category major hurricane?
43, I believe.
Oh, really? It's a very high
And
latitude.
then not only intensified and not only just hit 115, but then proceeded to nearly become a Cat 4. Peaked
Yes.
at 125, if I remember correctly.
Certainly would have got my hopes up. 53 degrees north.
Well, anyways, I can definitely tell in the most recent few images here that the eye seems to be dwindling away.
Peak intensity of Alex of 2004 was 120 millibars.
120. Okay.
Millibars and miles per hour. Sorry.
Cesar.
120 millibars. Well, Cesar. Don't worry, that's not even close to the record intensity of some of the storms on the hypothetical hurricanes wiki.
Oh dear. He's given it a
Those are,
plug.
oh,
Give it a plug.
That's right.
those are in the negatives. Ridiculous.
They'll be listening, you know.
hypothetical
They'll be
hurricanes.
listening. Careful what you say. Hey.
Oh no more, please.
Well,
120 miles per hour and 957 millibars was the peak intensity of 2004 Hurricane Alex.
Yeah. Still impressive nonetheless.
Of course, it was impressive. Maintaining major hurricane status nearing Newfoundland and
Yeah.
Quebec was astonishing. I don't know how to say, but it really is impressive.
It was very impressive.
Well, we've reached the top of the hour. It's 6 o'clock in China right now, which is where Nepartak is headed for, and this is Force 13 live. Super Typhoon Nepartak has wind speeds we expect of 175 miles per hour and a pressure of 905 millibars. As of just over an hour ago, it was located at 18.3 degrees north, 131.3 degrees east, and was moving towards the northwest at just over 20 miles an hour, I believe, 18 knots. And is expected to move towards Taiwan and could even make a landfall there as a significant Category 4 storm, which may well be the worst case scenario as it pans out. But even for China, it could still be a significant cyclone, especially if it misses Taiwan, like what we've depicted here on the track forecast. It could still be a Category 3 on final approach to China, but that is somewhat unlikely. It will certainly weaken rather quickly as it moves towards the northwest, as it gets beyond Taiwan, whether it hits or misses, because it's certainly going to have an effect either way. And then towards most of the models, though, expecting it to go into China and not much coming out the other end as it goes beyond Shanghai into the East China Sea. We'll be continuing to discuss the storms in this next hour. Blas is also there on the cusp of reaching Category 4 intensity. Will it get there or not? Who knows? But over to Devon.
Yes, Nathan, somebody has a question for you.
Oh. Yes, they do.
PDA 3 Rocket League asks, will you include this storm in Hurricane Week?
Well, not at the moment. It's going to do more than this. I don't think it's a suitable time to talk about that in particular. That's all I'll say at this point.
Now, what about the other system, Agatha?
Agatha
Was waste of time.
That was Agatha, much like Bonnie and Colin, waste of a name.
Actually,
Waste of a good name.
Actually,
I
it
don't
should
know.
not. Agatha should not be named in this 2016 season because
that's a bit harsh. Agatha
should
wasn't so
well.
bad.
I mean, should be retired in 2010 after killing like 300 people in Nicaragua.
But let's not get carried away
don't do
here. It was a weak tropical storm. It deserved to be named. Let's not forget what the naming criteria is. But you know, I don't know. I don't know what the solution to that is. I don't know whether you guys would want to double barrel name hurricanes or something to make them sound more important.
If that's a cloud, if that's a cloud, yes, name it tropical storm.
And Marcel is now running the National Hurricane Centre, believe it or not. Moving on.
Really? Marcel was for president of National Hurricane Center 2030.
Hurricane going to be a Cat 5.
No, 2030.
2030, sorry. Well, you got back in time for a moment. Well, he's certainly got more chance of that than being president of Colombia, but let's move on swiftly. Now, I don't know if there's any other non-storm weather news that anyone would like to pick up on for a brief moment, whilst we don't have anything particularly new on Nepartak or on Blas.
96.8.
Lots of heat advisories here in the States.
Risk and effect for some areas of the Midwest.
What is?
A moderate risk for severe weather.
Oh.
Oh, yes, there's that too. I believe I see a tornado watch in
Yes.
central Minnesota, northeastern South Dakota. But a large majority of the Missouri Valley and Texas, Oklahoma, and pretty much all of Louisiana is underneath a heat advisory right now.
And just one from my neck of the woods, just in case you needed any reassurance about the UK's fantastic weather. there are no warnings or watches in effect of any kind. Yet the weather is still very poor.
Nice.
That's a miracle, don't you? Reach 25, 26 degrees by Saturday.
Oh, that's good to know.
Exactly. Maybe you can go to the beach. Well, if you have beach in Manchester, in UK, but
Yeah, we do have beaches in the UK, funny enough, yes.
Breaking news.
Yes.
The National Hurricane Center is going to hire the forecasters of the hypothetical hurricanes.
Oh,
What?
dear.
Oh dear.
Oh,
Whatever
dear.
he said. Though, unfortunately, says is to rain on your parade a bit there. We're not going to get 26 degrees at the weekend. 22, though, is quite
Oh.
possible.
Well, almost. 22, 26 is still good.
Makes all the difference.
Well, 4 degrees of difference is
A
a
lot.
lot. Well, at least for me, because here, well, at least in my HQ, I need 4 degrees of difference to not feeling that heat that I'm having right now.
Yes, indeed. Okay. Who would like to talk about something else?
Well, I don't know
Got
actually.
Nepartak on the screen. Anyone else got any more thoughts or maybe some new imagery to look at? What was I going to mention? I don't know whether
Well,
I
I
want to just have another.
The 1 to 8 day total forecast of rain issued by the Australian Weather Bureau, and you can see how the weather pattern has changed dramatically over the last month, and you could see the northwest coastal area of Western Australia. You can see the pink, the blue, light blue, green, and we come right down to southern Australia, Victoria to Tasmania. It looks like Tasmania's going to cop it again. They've had numerous flood warnings in place. Rainfall totals have broken records, but the main activity is going to be on the southern coastal region of New South Wales, the eastern coastal region of Victoria, the western side of Tasmania, the northwest, and the northern area. The Australian Weather Bureau has in place several warnings. I'll just bring that up. The New South Wales Office of the New South Wales has issued a severe weather warning for damaging winds for basically the entire New South Wales coastal region. Devon, you have a question from a viewer.
Oh, yes. What is this question?
No, I thought you cited a question on the chat. If not, I'll just this is the warning area. So south of Sydney, right down to the Victorian border, and the mid-north coastal region of New South Wales. So they've got a severe weather warning for damaging winds issued at 4:25 a.m. local time. We also have flood watches in place. Actually, flood warnings. It looks like the Bureau has issued a further 2, one for the Snowy River. Victoria, they have severe weather warning, similar to what New South Wales has got. They've got two flood watches, a similar warning for the snowy river. And we'll just go across to Tasmania. Yes, Tasmanian Weather Bureau has issued a severe weather warning for damaging winds, issued 2 minutes ago, Nathan. And a series of deepening lows east of Victoria will persist throughout Wednesday, combined with a ridge of high pressure south of Tasmania to generate gale force southeasterly winds over the northeast of the state. So that's the current weather scene for Australia.
Thank you. So let me...
David, I have yet to find this question you said someone had for me.
No, we'll disregard that. I thought you mentioned Nino, so it doesn't... It's okay.
Well, someone did say, do you guys have any news for South Florida, but I'm not sure in what way.
News for South Florida.
I'm not sure in what way.
I didn't see anything groundbreaking. Just some heat advisories.
I'm
That's all I
guessing it's hot
see,
there.
likely due to very high dew points, especially around Lake Okeechobee.
Ah. Well, if you've just joined us, we're following Typhoon Nepartak, which is a Category 5 storm by our reckoning. 175 miles per hour we put it at, and for good reason. 905 millibars. Though the officials say that it is not. And we don't know why. Choop Bros says, do you think Nepartak could join the 200 mile an hour club? No.
Maybe they don't want to
No.
classify Nepartak
No.
as a Category 5 because they are scared about that. It's the first named storm of the season, the first typhoon, the first major, and the first Category 5.
Yes, but they've done it with Damri, and they've done it with Isa. So why can't they do it with Nepartak?
Well,
I do think it could intensify a bit more. 180, I doubt 185, but you never know. I'd say 180 personally.
They must fly into the storm because they're...
Well, that'll happen next year.
Well, it needs to happen this year because satellite estimates are not always
Perfect.
how I said.
You're right. Our satellite estimates are not always perfect, and
Look at
quite
that
frankly,
image.
they're subjective. I completely agree with you there, Cesar. And we need planes to fly into storms. I think that I don't know if the Americans have anything planned for this year, but I know some people are planning to fly into select typhoons this year, and then next year,
Well, they better
the
make it this
JMA
one.
is supposed to start flying planes into storms.
If they're picking a select few, they may as well make it this one then.
This
I
image looks
completely agree.
incredibly great.
What do they mean by select typhoons? It forms to say, oh, we'll fly into it today. Or do they just pick
pulled
names
up
out of a hat
the
or
latest
something?
visible image that I could find.
Maybe they pick names out of a hat and we'll say, oh, we'll fly into this one.
Yeah, that's usually how they work.
But there's the Nepartak right now. Certainly justified Category 5, you've got to say. It can't be a Cat 4.
It's
No matter what they
completely
say out there.
a Cat 5. Looks beautiful.
JMA
Completely
say it's
organized.
130 miles an hour. JTWC says
I
it's
hope JMA is
150 miles an hour.
They are
We at least have a Super
insane.
Typhoon out of the JTWC, and they are expecting it to form into a Cat 5, so we're likely going to see the Cat 5 on the next advisory.
Wouldn't be so sure just yet because the latest real-time ATCF says it's only 151 miles an hour.
Oh, that's the real-time ATCF.
And that Blas is at 126.
Wow, nice. So, Nepartak, certainly a very menacing looking storm here as the sun's starting to come up. Oh, this image is of was taken quite a long time ago, actually, over an hour ago.
Huh.
Yeah, an hour ago. So this is a late image. I should say that the rapid scan floater is nowhere near the system, and oh my.
Oh my. I believe
Yes,
we've got.
I'm just going to see if there's a visible floater.
I believe we've got Lee in the
for
chat room. Let's talk to Lee. Are you there?
Oh, I am, yeah.
Ah. So I've been asking everyone of their opinion of the storm. How strong do you
Yes.
think it is?
No, I'm like, man, I didn't even know you were alive.
We are alive, yes.
Yeah, I know you're alive now, because I'm just scared. But,
Have you seen the storm?
I've seen the two storms. I know what storms I'm on about. It's the Typhoon and the Hurricane. I think that's a 5. I do agree with you,
Yeah,
Nathan. I think
it's got to be,
I,
hasn't it?
I think it's bull that they're still at that at 4. It should be 5.
You won't get an argument from me.
And Hurricane Blast, I agree with Hurricane Blast. I think that's. I do believe that Hurricane Blast could go up to a 4. But we'll need to see.
I believe we've got rumblings that John might be joining us pretty soon, and that will spell disaster for everyone in the room because he didn't want a major hurricane to form in the Eastern Pacific.
Oh
So,
dear. Oh well, that's gone.
Oh, he's here. Hello, John.
Good evening. Well, sadly I lost my bet. I lost my bet.
Yes.
I
You
think
must be very
Adam's-
angry.
Yes, she did.
Well,
Well, Adam as well.
Blas
Adam, what's
is
it wrong?
deserving, sadly. I have to say it. Blas is deserving, though. It's deserving.
Yeah, and what do you think about Nepartak? Deserving of Cat 5?
Cat 5? Well, I need to see some satellite imagery before I
You've
do
not
any,
seen
I
it.
got
Oh,
it up
wait-
on the
wait
screen.
till you
I
see
just-
it.
visible.
It's the first time I've been on my computer all day. I've been doing other things today. So give me a sec. So,
Sure.
yeah. I'm aware we're live now. I'm aware.
We are indeed, yeah.
So yeah, Blas definitely a surprise. I mean, I didn't see it, but now I'm seeing it now, and it'll probably to add more insult to my
But there
injury.
was uncertainty over it. There was.
Yeah. Add even more insult to my injury. It'll probably be C4, which is a reasonable, intensity estimate. I wouldn't doubt it'd be C4. It's 125 now, so I
That's
mean, I wouldn't doubt it.
explosive, John. You better be careful with that C4.
Yeah, C4 explosive intensification. I don't think we're not going to see another Patricia. We're not going to. Okay, for all those be like,
Okay.
gotta go 5. We're not.
What do
gonna see
you
another
think
one.
about Typhoon Nepartak?
Looking really good actually. Napartak is probably the best looking thing in the West Pack this year. Because
It's the only thing in the
Really?
West Pack this year.
exactly. It's the only thing of note. It's looking really good actually on satellite. I am actually liking it on satellite. It looks good.
More than good.
But the West Pack, I mean, it's impressive. I mean, I would
But do
easily.
you think it's a Category 5? Because the agencies don't.
Based off satellite, my own personal experience with satellite analysis, I'd give this storm a solid 155 right now.
Oh my!
Oh,
you think it's
strike for John.
you think it's only as strong as Joaquin?
It could be 160, but the first few frames are giving me the indication it's 155 right now, but it could be 160. Yes, Westpac, we need planes.
It's true.
Isn't that
We're
a
getting them
request?
next year. Calm down.
Well, I would have loved to fly into this thing and figure out how fast it was. I mean, this
Well,
thing
John,
could be 180 for all
There's
we know.
nothing stopping you if you get your own plane.
Give me
I
a
would
little.
be like Cat 4 for Blas.
Give me a little bit of space here because I need to say that John Strike.
Oh, Cesar.
Be nice. Everyone's got their own opinions.
I know, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he's in a minority thinking it's not a 5, though, I have to say.
And I've just like I've got my own opinion about certain people.
Okay.
I think
I
think
just
Typhoon.
think that it's just a hair under Cat 5, but
Well,
it
John,
could possibly be
please,
160.
please show me what a Cat 5 is in that case.
I think the
And then
want
Typhoon's
a-
a
you want a
hundred.
real
say,
good
then he'll
example?
say Patricia, won't he? Is Patricia the only Category 5 ever in your book?
No,
Yes.
there's Pseudolore. There's Pseudolore.
Pseudolore.
I think the storm looks more impressive than Pseudolore.
Well,
It does
again,
look
I
more
didn't-
impressive than Pseudolore. You know
sort
what?
of
At this rate,
incomparable,
I might as
really.
well change my mind. I mean, I think
oh, well, he's an
it
easy
can be
pushover,
anywhere.
isn't it?
Shut up. I mean, I probably didn't think my thoughts through, but I'm thinking it's between 155 and 175. It's in that
Yeah.
ball.
Okay, he's starting to warm up, isn't he? He'll say 175 before the show's out, just like us.
Well, like I said,
Well,
I
the
need to
other
look
bit-
at this imagery for at least 5 to 10 minutes before I can give you
All
guys
right.
a straight answer.
Yeah,
All right.
what story you're on about?
Yeah, Nepartak, of course. I wouldn't say Blas is
Oh.
a Cat 5. eh?
Hello.
Yes, hello,
Blas is
Marcel.
the
You are
definition
live.
of not a Cat 5. Blas is a Category 2 to 3 storm.
It's already definitely done.
Justified
Yeah, I
for
know.
a 3, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fair 3, but the eye is looking a little bit ragged in the first few frames of the imagery. But you know that was when it was probably still a
It
2.
looks
Michael
like any
thinks
other bog standard Category 3 in the East Pack, doesn't it?
Now,
It's
John.
already beat that
um,
anyway.
True.
Now,
You got
John,
me.
there have been several interesting intensity estimates, including from the HWRF, that expects this
Oh, yes.
storm to be sub 900 millibars, a few miles off the coast of Taiwan.
Oh fudge.
And
What,
you
Partak?
have people like Michael even posting a video today saying that the storm could hit 200 miles per hour. What do you think about those intensity estimates?
200. Ooh.
Oh my
I
goodness, no
need-
more, please.
I need some flight data to confirm that one.
Oh, well, no
Sadly,
one's suggesting
that-
it's 200. Believe
Yeah,
me.
the only
Can-
way I would believe that is if there's flight data to back that up. That's the only way I'll believe that.
John, can you please get a plane and fly into it and confirm us the intensity?
Good idea, you know.
Caesar, I am not a millionaire.
I don't.
I am the definition of
You
a
don't need to be a
middle-class American.
millionaire. You don't need to be a millionaire to get a plane and fly into the storm. Actually, but well, the Portag looks very intense, and after
I want to see
Michael's
what the Vorax
opinion,
says.
intensity estimates 2,000 miles per hour. I think is impossible.
2,000
because
miles an hour, you say?
Oh, 200 miles per hour.
Now we're really starting to get into the hypothetical hurricane wiki.
That again.
Oh God!
What's wrong with me right
Supersonic
now?
Typhoon.
200 miles per hour.
1,000 miles per hour. Official intensity estimate from Cesar Games.
No, it's not official. It's hypothetical, but well, 200 miles per hour I see impossible because only one storm officially get that intensity. And about its pressure that Michael says 865 miles per hour is very difficult. Of course,
865 miles.
millibars, I said. Well,
Oh, you can see how
it's
colorful
very,
we are right
it's,
here.
it's not, well, it's not so possible, but everything in this world can happen after the global warming and the heat and whatever. And of course, all the West Pacific typhoons
Well-
always give us a surprise. So
Ram thinks that Nepartak's 130 knot.
Yeah, well,
they RAM posts exactly what the ATCF posts.
yeah. The ATCF right now, 151.
So it's 151 knot or 151 mile an hour.
Well, we say it's 151 knots, but
Ah, yes, that's a great Category 5. It'll wreck the butt. Never mind. 130 knot is 150 miles an hour. I gotta remember that, Shuff. When we get to 135 knot, then we have a Cat 5. Actually, 135 knot is 155. Dang it!
Here's the imagery coming up again. I think that there might be David screen sharing, but doesn't matter. Here's the storm.
Yep.
Yeah, David. There it is. We should have polls on this, shouldn't we? We should poll the viewers. Who thinks it's a Cat 5? Who thinks it's a Cat 4? Unfortunately, there's not a poll option available on YouTube, which is a shame. But never mind.
Vote in your comment section now.
Oh, I see it on the Facebook Force 13 International Facebook page.
There is, but it would probably become irrelevant pretty quickly, to be honest. So, be out of date in 3 hours when it becomes officially a 5. But there is no guarantee that it will become an official Category 5 in 3 hours anyway, because the real-time ATCF isn't saying so. But what the Devon, you'll probably know what are the T numbers right now?
That's what I want to know.
Well, the raw number last time I checked was 7.2. I will reconfirm that. It is, in fact, the actual cyclone intensity number right now. The actual cyclone intensity number right now is 7.1, 165 miles an hour.
Really?
That's still a Cat 5.
Yep, easily.
E3.
Sorry about that. Current from the chat, the Tick 3532 says Cat 4.
Yeah, I see it all. Yeah.
Hank says yes, assuming yes being Cat 5. Martinez says 4. Playing Guy 737 Max says
You don't have to read that one necessarily.
185. Two players 180 mile an hour Cat 5.
Yeah, possible, but
Playing Guy agrees with my lower bound of 155.
I think 180.
Lee thinks 180.
I think 180.
Interesting. Oh yeah.
Like I said, my bounds are 155, 175. That's my bounds.
Well,
Well, John.
yeah.
It's a horrible estimate.
One thing I can say, 65 fast.
What's Devon done?
Devin said, I think it's a 35 mile an hour
Oh,
TT.
Devon, you're not fooling anyone. You're here. You're not there.
Oh my, no more, please.
guys, can you please somebody tell me what's wrong with me about confusing millibars and miles per hour
I
in
don't know.
hurricanes?
You tell me. Well, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to get the latest image and do my own calculations yet again, and see what it comes out with. I use a particular algorithm which computes the cloud tops and the eye temperature to get an intensity. And I'll let you know my findings in a moment.
Yeah, the chat's exploding as normal.
It certainly exploded. It certainly came up fast.
Beautiful image, Jason. Beautiful image,
Okay,
Jason.
so very interesting. The latest analysis from myself, which will become Force 13's official number, well, official to us at least, is now 178 miles per hour.
Oh my.
It's definitely fast then.
So
Yeah,
that's
Cat
going
5.
up further, up to 180. And then 180, by the way, is a full 7.5 on the Dvorak scale. So that's pretty impressive right there. I think we're still a full I think we're still a few steps away from
Mainly
a
due
fall.
to the warm eye, I have to stress.
Yep. I don't think the eye is sufficiently warm
Oh,
enough
what are you?
for
Well-
a T7.5, but then again, I could be looking at the picture wrong.
Well, the cloud tops in the eye wall have been less impressive, but the eye has actually more than offset that. So, but what it does suggest is that perhaps it's not sustainable. So it may be going down very soon.
Oh, nice image in the chat. Are there any hints of a possible, eye wall replacement cycle?
Well, we discussed that earlier, indeed. Yeah, I think it's quite possible.
I think it's possible.
I mean, I'm not really seeing any real big indicators of that, right? And it's a second, but I need to see a couple more frames from the satellite to confirm
That
that.
usually weakens it a wee bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does
When
kind of.
of.
I think there's a big exception to that, and that is high end, because that thing got a pretty big eye and it still maintained its pretty big intensity of 195, which is debatable by some people's standards. Also, looking at the satellite, Nepartak looks pretty small actually for a Pacific Typhoon. That's pretty tiny.
Yes, radius of maximum winds only a few kilometers.
I don't know if anyone would be able to screen share the images that Jason has posted recently at all. It would be very beneficial for the viewers.
Radius
Which
of
one
maximum
first?
winds
Which
beyond
one?
the eye itself is 9 kilometers.
Show them both. They're great images.
Okay.
What you're about to see, I think, is some visible imagery, is it? Oh. Well, it was loading briefly there, John, but it stopped. Yes. It's the sound of John exploding.
Yes, a very common thing
Oh,
here.
there
in
it is.
Force 13.
There we are. Look. There's one image. That's just before the visible on the Geocolor Himawari 8. But wasn't there a big close-up, which must be the next in your series?
Yes, there is. Give me a second. Let me change the screen share to that.
Yep.
Settings. Share window. Here. Let me give you guys a better view
Oh,
of it.
yes, there we are.
Here's a better view.
Yeah. It certainly shows that the, well, the rim of the eye is not particularly steep of a gradient. It sort of filters in a little bit, doesn't it? Which might suggest weakening of the outer edge of the eye or something. Who knows?
It's not a very impressive stadium effect. I've seen more impressive stadium effects than eyes.
And just to reiterate,
a very solid example would be Wilma of 2005.
something I forgot to say, with the recent update to 178 miles per hour, with the absence of planes, that would correlate to an estimated pressure of 902.
Yeah, that's
Wow, nice.
That's pretty close to 900. So, yeah, we need
At the end
planes.
of the day,
I'm
it's all
sorry,
about
we need
dangerous
planes.
typhoon.
Yes, indeed.
Or we need drones, either or. We could.
And David, is it still heading for Taiwan, or is it moved away from there?
Yeah, Taiwan's still under some threat. A drone in a typhoon, though. Come on, John.
It's possible.
It's impossible for a drone to survive a typhoon. Yes.
The drone will be dead.
Not the drone you think of. I'm
The
talking
drone
about.
will-
I'm
the
talking
drone-
about probably a
Unmanned plane.
UAV kind of thing. You know what I mean? You ever seen one of those before?
Right.
You know, one
Yeah,
of the
they
U.S.
flew one
military.
of those into Danny.
The drone will be
Ah.
dead actually inside of a rain band of
I mean,
a
if-
tropical cyclone.
Yeah, if you can figure out how to make those things extremely long range, that'd be great.
No.
Yes, I'm
They
giving you
did.
ideas.
They did it with Danny.
Oh, they did?
Yeah,
Damn.
they
Why
flew an unmanned aircraft into Danny. That's how they got a plane in there.
Because it was so small.
Well, because they didn't have the budget for an actual plane to go in there.
Well, why not they send some of those planes to the Westpac?
Because the U.S. doesn't feel like sending those UAVs to Guam. I don't know.
Yeah, sadly, we need Westpac flights. Yes, you heard right. We need some West Pacific flights, offering for a very low price. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Oh my goodness.
Funny guy.
So now there's
Only $29.95.
Ow.
Great deal.
Now
Okay.
there's
On a serious note,
Yeah.
on a serious note, it would probably cost a lot of money to send planes in the West.
Oh
It
damn
does.
it!
It does, John, and that's actually your money.
Oh my goodness! What's
God.
that email lines?
Force it
You
in
got me
anyway.
there.
Well, is there
You
a
got me
problem?
there. You got me there.
Oh, goodness me.
I'll return briefly.
Oh, okay. Bye. Oh, I just see that the latest on Blas up to 129 miles per hour, which I think technically is a Category 4, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the cut-off point.
Yes, it is.
Oh, just 1 mile of difference to
So
to
it's
have an upgrade of category.
pretty safe to say that Blas is a Category 4, no matter what anyone else says.
Yes. But well, the eye doesn't look like very good. I mean, it's trying to get into symmetry, but I'm watching right now the last frames of Blast, and really the eye's trying to get some shape, but it's getting difficulties. But I think it's enough to classify it as a Category 4 Hurricane.
Yeah, further than I thought it would go. Certainly further than what John thought it would be.
Poor John.
Yeah, poor John. But that's Blas, believed now to be a Category 4.
I think that.
I think the RAM imagery sells Nepartak as annular more than any other image that I can find.
Yeah, I'm looking at that myself right now. 'Cause I'm just
The RAM
updating.
floater really selling off this system is impressive. I do have to say, and yeah, if the eye temperature is what I think it is, that would allow me to pump it up to 180 miles an hour.
Good lord.
Just let me screenshot this and see what the eye temp is like.
Well, I believe it's at least in the high teens Celsius.
Negative?
No, positive.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Or at least
I
into
must
the
really
into
be
the
looking
teens.
at the I must really be doing the color coding wrong on this then. Because I'm not getting anywhere near that.
Well, it was. It might not be anymore. I believe it actually has. I think it's probably into single figures positive now. But it was into the teens earlier. But yeah, signs of the eye might be waning here. And what we believe is well, we certainly think it's a Category 5, but well, it could weaken.
Oh no, that's a much lighter gray than that. Oh wow.
So there's the latest track map whilst Devon's looking at all that. With the storm expected to go towards... No, we'll change the track just yet because I've been here, of course. But no real change required, to be honest. The storm is certainly a big threat to the northern part of Taiwan and, according to the JMA, the southern part of Taiwan as well. But in particular, I would say the northern part of Taiwan and the southernmost islands of Japan. Also for the eastern coast of China, extending pretty much from Fuzhou northwards to Shanghai and beyond. And even the Korean Peninsula might see something out of this system. Unsure exactly what just yet, but hey, we have someone on the ground in Korea now, don't we? should we need him?
The hay bale.
The hay bale. He is in South Korea if we need him to do a live update over there.
I'm curious. That's a pretty sharp drop off from 72 to 96. It's because of all the mountainous terrain over there, or the land interaction. It's gonna just make it really fall apart.
Well, yes. All the models are saying that Taiwan will kill the storm, and if Taiwan doesn't, China will.
Noted.
But if the storm goes anywhere near Taiwan, then it will knock a category, 2 categories, maybe 3 categories off the storm's intensity.
Could see a Cham Hom like situation out of this.
Anyways, for what I'm seeing here, Nathan, again, unless I'm getting the color scheme completely wrong
Have
here.
you looked at that latest one from Jason? That must be from Real Earth, which actually tells you the temperatures. I'll go there myself and see what the latest temperature is inside the eye. That is one thing we forgot to look at.
I'm getting anywhere in between +9 and -30.
Well, okay.
So I guess I could fall in line with what you've got there.
Well, I wouldn't suggest it is in double figures positive now. I think it's slipped to single figures positive. But I want to try and get that image that Jason's got there and probe what temperature that actually is. But I am struggling to find it right now.
Now that I'm looking at my paper for a second time here, I'm going to have to put the storm at 165.
Oh. How disappointing. Oh, I've got it now. Okay,
Yes.
So latest eye temperature as of actually some time ago, 8:50 p.m. UTC. The eye temperature was unknown.
Huh.
Nice.
So it's time to guess it.
Yeah.
Guess the pressure.
Well, yeah, I would have to guess. I would suggest it is a certain temperature, which I'll have to look up.
The temperature of top cloud.
No,
top,
I would
top.
say around 5 Celsius, Devon, actually, at the latest. 5 Celsius.
+5 Celsius?
Yeah.
That would put it at 165.
Yeah, it is going down, so suggest 165 now. But the latest from the Force 13 analysis 178. But with that data in mind, that might force a change in my readings as well. So we'll have a look.
Oops.
And this one from Jason, Nathan?
Yeah, it's actually actually down to, on my analysis to 171.
Okay.
So we suggest that Nepartak is now at 171 miles per hour.
Actually, it is the peak intensity of my analysis. Thank you.
Harry Genova is now saying Hurricane Celia has formed.
That it hasn't.
Oh, damn it.
Well, we need wait 1 week to see that.
Yes, I was about to say I do not believe that we have Celia. Unless 96E developed that quickly.
96E is developing even quickly than Nepartak. Just kidding. And of course, it looks like better than Bonnie.
Well, 96E right now looks better than Tropical Storm Colin did. So
that's good news.
It's because really Colin was terribly insane. A joke.
And that 171 miles an hour reading would suggest 907 millibars. And I would say that the 2 one that we had earlier would be made invalid. So the peak so far for Nepartak would be 905 and 175 miles an hour.
Yep. Delia currently has a 20% chance of forming in the next 2 days, and an 80% chance of forming in the next 5.
Well, I
And
picked that
a
Celia
155% chance of forming if you trust the CMC model.
You know that CMC models always overrate intensities of storm.
Could you imagine what might have been season would have looked like if you just looked at the CMC model?
Oh, it will be
Crazy,
insane.
crazy.
Oh, damn
Completely
it.
out of sense. But I'll pick that tropical depression 4E. No, I'm right. 4E, yes, tropical depression 4E will develop in the next 2 or 3 days.
Oh, wow. Carrie Genova asked, did Devon saw Delia?
What?
Delia who? There was a Delia way back when. I can't remember when now. Very long time ago. But thanks to the Force 13 database, I'll be able to tell you when in just a few moments.
Of course.
Hooray!
Yes, we've had 2 Delias. North Atlantic in 1973, a 70-mile-an-hour tropical storm, and a South Indian storm in 1963, which reached 80 miles an hour.
Wow, nice.
Not bad.
A 1973 Atlantic tropical storm.
Yeah.
How
Not much
about
else
that?
happened that year, did it?
And it had a very interesting track.
Did it?
Show us that interesting track.
Yes.
PDA 3 Rocket League says, do you guys have any info on the incoming Saharan dust headed towards Florida?
No.
Oh.
I don't know if you guys do, but I don't.
I think one person in the team that could answer that one would be Adam.
He doesn't know.
Well, they do have the Saharan air layer.
Well, the
I could
Saharan
find it.
dust will be in the Atlantic practically all the month of July, so we will see our next tropical
Yes.
system by the end of this month.
I've found it. There is a lot of Saharan dust over the Atlantic, well, dry air at least. I don't know whether it's dusty. But there is a hell of a lot of dry air in the central Atlantic, and it is moving west. I'm not an expert on this, so I don't really know what the outcome will be, but Florida does seem quite a far away from the Sahara. All I can say is that right now, no. Oh, here's some satellite imagery of Nepartak. Is it a problem for hurricane formation, he asks, the Saharan air layer? Yes, it's a huge problem. And in the Atlantic, in the central Atlantic and the eastern Atlantic, you're going to see nada right now because massive amount of dry air.
And of course, all this dry air and dust prevent any type of formation, storm or precipitation of humidity, actually. So we must say that the Atlantic is completely dead in this month until the end of July.
Well, the open Atlantic, but the Caribbean and the Gulf of
Well, the
Mexico might have a
Caribbean
chance.
the Caribbean or the Gulf of Mexico has more chances to see a tropical development, but it will be like a miracle for the tropic for a disturbance to survive all the dust and manage to try to form.
I think what we're looking at on the screen share here is the whole life of Nepartak up until now. Is that right?
I bet it is.
Yeah, it would appear
Yes.
so. There's the point where we thought it became a typhoon, and again.
Yes, and you can see the the clouds here explode.
Look at that! He did a Mikala. Mikala exploded, but that really did explode. Look at that!
Look at it exploded, and
went
that's
crazy.
why Nepartak intensified incredibly quickly. Got it. The eye is now forming in that phase, and this time was actually a tropical storm.
We did cut off Lee just a moment ago to talk about that. So, Lee, what did you want to say there?
So I was just saying, I was talking to Adam privately the other day, and he reckons that by mid-July there'll be at least tropical activity around the Caribbean.
Good evening.
And around Florida as well.
John's back.
Hello,
Yeah.
John.
I'm back for a while. Just I haven't been talking because I've been eating.
Yes,
No.
indeed.
I gotta eat, you know. I had like no time today. I've been everywhere today, so. Now
Well, you've not
and
been
I-
here.
Exactly.
How have you been everywhere if you've not been here?
Everywhere but here.
Yeah. Oh, we've got some models.
There's a model track.
Yeah, talk about this, David.
Well, that's a pretty
Oh,
strong
sorry.
consensus.
John, would you like to comment on the track on the screen?
Look at the UK Met taking it to Hong Kong.
UK Met has probably has something to do with that. I don't know. It's pretty. That one stuck out to me right away. I was like, "What the heck am I looking at?" I'll ignore the UK Met because it's an obvious outlier, obviously.
But look at this, we've
CMC
got a split, haven't we? It's either Taiwan or Japan, Japanese Southern
yeah.
Islands.
Yeah, we do have a split here. We either have home islands or we have Taiwan, or China, whatever.
Nathan, guys.
Yeah,
50-50
yeah,
split.
yeah, we have either Korea, China, home islands, or Taiwan.
Marcel?
Guys, I think that UK Met is a fail.
Well, it's... Well, I've got to be careful what I say, being in the UK,
Clearly.
but yeah, I agree.
Well, the Met officers a bit of
Yeah, well,
a
the
waste
UK
of time.
Yeah, well, you can
Well,
say
the
that, Lee,
UK
because you're Scottish.
No, it
Well,
doesn't do with being Scottish, Nathan.
Just...
I'll tell you why after you finish the student.
Yes, indeed. But Devon, which one would you go along with there? Would you go along with a Taiwan landfall or the Japanese scenario in Korea? Looks like we've lost Devon at a most unfortunate time. Well, who else would like to pick up on that question?
Let's cry then.
It's a tough one. I mean, the models have seemed pretty even, half split.
What about the FIM, which is the pink one? I believe the FIM, I'm trying to, for our viewers, I'm trying to locate a website which I can, has all the models on the page, and if the FIM is a experimental one. What do we think about the track in pink?
Well, it's an outlier, but it's certainly possible, isn't it? It's certainly not out of the realms of possibility, unlike the UK Met. But yeah, 50-50 split right there. Which is a dilemma if you're forecasting the storm like we are. But one thing that we have to mention is that at the current movement, if you were to extrapolate it, and we can't, but if you were to extrapolate its current movement, it would follow the southern ones into Taiwan.
So would we support the
So for that
CMC
reason, I would put it 60-40 in favour of a Taiwanese landfall.
UK Med's drunk, number one. Number two, I think that we're going to see a track that falls in between the AEMN
Really?
model and the NavGem.
Do you think the JMA's forecast will be right?
I'm thinking in between AEMN and NavGem, somewhere in between those two models. So that's basically the forecast cone. My opinion.
I do have to butt in here right now that absolutely none of those models have the storm anywhere near as strong as it is right now. And I would personally wait another 6 hours for the next model runs to get a better idea of where the storm's going.
Agreed.
Well, what do you think its strength would favour? Would it favour a quicker poleward movement, or the opposite?
It would curve. A stronger storm curves more, so expect the storm
That's
tracks
what I
to
thought.
shift back to the right.
All right, what are
I
your
thought.
thoughts on that one?
Oh, that's here we go. Interesting. So, would we be looking at the green ones in that case, Devon? Rather than the yellows and reds?
I think, well, right now the models are pretty much split right down the middle. We'll have to see where it goes.
Well, at least we have consensus, unlike another storm from last year. Joaquin.
Yes. Wasn't
that was a fun one to predict. That was a fun one.
Wasn't the HWRF the least wrong on that one as well?
No, the ECMWF was very strong.
Incorrect. It was the ECMWF that predicted that storm perfectly.
Oh, good on the ECMWF, which also predicted 3 major hurricanes in a row in the East Pack this week.
Possible, but here's the deal. I trust the ECMWF model in the Atlantic during October. That's the one I trust the most during October. Because it gets
the ECMWF all the time.
So you do think there'll be 3 major hurricanes in the East Pack this week?
We'll have to see.
That one's
But I do put a lot of stock in the model, and we've already got 1 major hurricane.
Yep.
And from the sounds of it, 96E is probably going to develop right behind it.
Yep.
And the sea surface temperatures are still there north of the equator.
Certainly. Above average.
So it's certainly not. There certainly can't be taken out of the question that there's a second one. I don't know about a third one.
You know how much a touchy subject this is with me.
But just quickly, just look at the JTWC's cone. They're really covering themselves, aren't they? For every eventuality there.
It looks like, I'm wondering which is worse, Joaquin's cone or this cone?
I don't know. But, yeah.
That one was pretty wide at some point. That was a pretty wide cone for a while.
That one's quite wide.
Yeah, that covers like 20 degrees of longitude and latitude. That's pretty damn wide. Sorry, that's true.
They do think, JTWC do think it would weaken to 145 miles an hour at landfall, very close to Taipei, which would certainly give Taiwan its biggest threat since Tianjin, but perhaps the biggest landfall since the mid-2000s, if I'm not mistaken, when there were quite a few that barreled into Taiwan, Cat 3s and Cat 4s.
Yeah.
I think there was even 1.5
pretty much
in 2005, I think it was.
2005 only had 1 Category 5 in the waste pack.
I thought that was a landfall in China, not Taiwan. But, all right.
Well, they're both
I don't
China,
know for sure. I didn't do my research before the show. I did my research many months ago.
Devin, they're technically both China. Technically.
One's the People's Republic of China, the other one's the Republic of China. Whatever.
Okay, so there was
let's part of China, not completely independent of China.
Oh my goodness! What has the gem been smoking?
I don't know. Ask them.
Oh my!
What? Oh my goodness!
I should say that the nav gem does make the storm deeper than any of the other models besides the ECMW, not the ECMW, the HWRF.
Yes.
Look at the yellow one.
Gem too. It says that it will impact directly over the south part of Japan.
Issue it looks like.
Oh, for God's sakes. Okay, I know there are models and predicts different forecasts, but I mean that there's no way to be insane at that level.
The gem predicts a Kyushu landfall.
Yeah, well, so does the other one as well, the pink one.
True that. The strongest landfall I think Kyushu has seen was in a while. for that matter, was Goni last year. That was a Category 3 landfall in Kyushu.
Yeah, strongest in quite some time.
Just imagine if we got a Cat 4 up here.
There's a lot of possibilities in the
Look at
Nepartak.
that, it initializes it at 993 millibars, whatever you're looking at there.
Oh, Jesus.
Who thinks the Nepartak is 993 millibars right now and will be 992 in 24 hours?
Oh, damn.
Nobody. For God's sake, what the?
Yeah, I have to go along with Devon there in saying those model runs are quite irrelevant
Well,
at this point.
You know that if Devon see that, he automatically will explode.
Yes.
But I mean, it's a Category 5 Typhoon by our analysis, of course. But who ever heard a Category 4, Category 5 Typhoon that is had a tropical storm
And that
pressure?
one starts at 1003.
That's CMC.
The CMC, even more quickly than usual.
Are we forgetting
The
about Hurricane
CMC
Ethel
is
here?
drunk.
No.
That's why
Don't
don't
mention
trust in
Hurricane Ethel.
any model. Only you can trust in Force 13, guys. Okay?
Well, that's a 972 millibar Category 5. We're talking about a 1003 millibar Category 5.
Oh no puede ser.
Oh my goodness.
This is terrible. Terrible.
I thought Ethel was bad, but that's worse. I thought
No,
Ethel was bad.
completely out of sense. This is this other planets, of course.
Devinson, you thought Ethel was bad. This is worse.
It's just past 7 o'clock in China this morning. You're watching Force 13 live. We're tracking Super Typhoon Nepartak, which has winds, we estimate, of around 171 miles an hour and an estimated pressure of 907 millibars. Last position we know of, 18.6 degrees north, 130.6 degrees east. Expected to move towards the northwest as it has been doing at over 20 miles per hour. And there it is on the satellite imagery, the Himawari 8 satellite, and first visibles appearing on that particular imagery as well. And guys, what are your observations on our first visible images of the storm?
Completely Category 5 storm, very beautiful and completely insane that Joint Typhoon Warning Center has not said anything about that it's a Cat 5 Super Typhoon.
Across the Pacific, we also have Hurricane Blas, which is a high-end Category 3 storm. The National Hurricane Center came out 2 hours ago with their updates saying that it was 125 miles an hour and 954 millibars. However, the latest estimates have it at 129 miles per hour, which has just straddled into Category 4 territory, just about reaching the threshold.
It should be noted that Blas is in the middle of nowhere and is expected to go nowhere before weakening to nothing in the middle of